I say you don't look nice at the moment.
No, that's alright. Just the one thing I want to look at here is, if you can see in this dish, we've got a couple of bay leaves here. The things that we've got really good value out of in our garden have been the herbs. And this is a recipe. It's an Indian Punjabi lamb shanks and spinach. We're not using lamb shanks, but we're just using regular lamb chops. But the spinach is also, this is from the garden as well, and I'm going to go out now and I'm going to show you my spinach that I've been growing. If you look over there, we've got two birds that are pecking away at my garden. Actually, there's more than just two birds. So this is it, my garden for 2011. It's not as I'd like it at this time of year. This is the bay leaf tree, and I've actually done some grafting last year, so these little seedlings have actually, I've grafted them from the just leaves pretty much that have grown for a year now from my bay leaf tree. I'm very happy with them. This one is also a plum, which I got from my plum tree, the big plum tree over here. And what we have here is some of the spinach. Now I'm really impressed with the spinach. It's a perpetual spinach. I just got it from the garden store and it survived the winter. And now we're in early spring. And this is what I was alluding to. It's like, wow, it's into October now. I would have liked to have the garden going a lot earlier in the year, but we had to go away to Singapore for a period. So I've really been impressed with the herbs. Herbs are a really good thing for food because they just keep on growing. So we've got a sage here, an oregano. If we move along, this also survived from last year. This is just a little bit of chives, and if you look, what I've done here is what this is actually from the worm farm is worm castings and eggshell. And what I've done actually is I've scattered all sorts of seeds from previous years through the garden. They're expired seeds, but I'm hoping I'm going to get something. And the reason why it's good to have eggshell in there is it's supposed to deter the slugs. They don't like to crawl over the sharp edges on the eggshell. So we just put them in the worm farm, the eggshells. And moving on, I've got a big rosemary here. This is some parsley that I put in yesterday. I've also scattered seed all around the garden, the expired seeds. And this is my big lot of oregano. And it just actually spread to a pot, the one that I planted down there. And lastly, for my herbs, this is the original sage. I actually got the sage from the neighbour. I just cut it out of their a little bit out of their garden. And this is thyme, and thyme's an amazing herb. This particular thing just grows like crazy. It's lasted 4 or 5 years now, and it's just a nice bush, and it grows like a lawn. You can actually just make it grow, and it'll grow like a lawn. And it also smells fantastic that time. So one last thing to look at before wrapping up this first video is our plum tree. I showed you the off-cut before. I called it a graft, but it's not actually a graft, it's just an off-cut that I managed to grow last year. And I just wanted to have a look at the blossoms, because really it's going to be, I don't know if they'll be on the tree for another week. This is the last of it. This is on a lower branch. There's some more blossoms up, way up on the top branches. I don't know if that will show up on the camera. And this plum tree, in the time we've been here a little bit under 10 years. It's had one very good harvest of plums. It hasn't given us a lot of plums since our neighbours who have been here over 50 years tell us that this plum tree used to give great fruit. It used to be very heavily laden, and we've only had one very good harvest. And the reasons for that, well, I've heard a couple of reasons. One was to do with pollination. So the neighbour used to be an apiarist. They had bees, and they stopped doing that shortly after we got here. And so that would explain that when they had beehives next door, how they managed to always get a very good harvest of plums. And the other one was that we didn't prune it enough, and this is the second year I've pruned it, and you can see the wood here. And I've just moved this big branch, so I've pruned it very heavily over the last 2 years. We still didn't get a good harvest last year. I'm hoping that it's going to get a good harvest this year. So the last of the blossoms have gone, and I just wanted to show that, because I might not be able to do it next week. Okay, this is the finished product. The spinach and the bay leaf have done their work, and this looks really good. I just want to have a quick taste. That's delicious. Boy, that's good. So I'm happy with that. A big thing that I like to accomplish with my garden and the cooking is it's really just having something to complement cooking. I'm quite a lazy gardener, really. I just, you know, we live in the city. I work full time. I don't have a lot of time, so for what I do put in, I like the garden to be quite productive. Herbs are good for that. You know, we haven't grown a lot of the things that are in that curry, but herbs, the reason why I like them a lot is they add so much to a dish. Fresh herbs, you really can't beat them, and they keep on growing year after year. I do want to get some basil in the garden. That's one thing that doesn't survive through the winter, so I really hope I have a lot of basil in the garden by hopefully by Christmas. So I've got a couple of months to get some basil growing all over the garden. Alright, that's all for now.